Hey everybody, my name is Frank, and today I'm going to be installing two RAM cards in this Lenovo m720s desktop PC. It's the small size form factor version, so it's going to be tightly packed in there. So I'm just going to show you how to open it up, get inside, and install some RAM. Now the RAM, I have two 8GB cards that I purchased at Kingston, and Kingston has a great website where you can actually just put your computer in and it tells you all the compatible components. So it was real easy to find these on Kingston. I'm not trying to promote them or anything, I just thought it was a really great experience on their website. I actually purchased these on Amazon to save a couple bucks. So let's go ahead and open it up. You can come around, check out these screws. The first thing we need to do is take these screws off the back. These guys right here, you can use a flathead or a Phillips head screwdriver. Mine are pre-loosened with a butter knife, which you can use in dire straits. So I'm just gonna pull these guys out. Once they're off, we have this handle here to remove this cover. So just pull the handle back. It's gonna come back about a 1/2 inch, and then you could pop the whole top straight off. From here, what we need to do to get to the RAM slots, which are underneath here, we're gonna have to pull this metal housing up. This houses the, oh, I actually have it unplugged already. This houses the CD drive as well as the hard drive. What we need to do to get that out is remove the plastic bezel. So I've got 3 clips here. Now it's very important to be gentle but firm with these clips because they can definitely break off just by the feel of the plastic. It can break off. So you just pop them up gently and then hinge this thing down. Now if you're on a flat surface like I am, you're probably gonna have to lift up the case to hinge it all the way off. But once you have it off, you can see it's got some little hooks here and the entire bezel just comes right off just like that. Now to lift this metal housing up, 2 things happen. One is you're gonna have to depress this clip, but the other, there is a spring-loaded clip that locks this thing in, and when you take the plastic bezel off, this pops out. If for some reason it doesn't pop out, just be aware that this is here and it needs to pull out in order to lift this metal housing out. When you're lifting the metal housing out, if your CD drive is still plugged in, you're just going to remove it. It's plugged in right here, so you just push this down and pull it out. Mine was already out from where I looked at this the other day. So now we have our pin out. We're just going to push this in and lift. Ooh, wasn't trying to pull my hard drive up. But we just push the pin in and we lift this entire housing up. It's important to be careful when you're lifting the housing because I have some audio ports in the front here, and they're actually hooked into a little chip. And when we lift this up, there's a cable that connects between the chip for these audio ports and the bottom of this metal housing here. So if you can come back around again, show that little, where that cable is. This black cable right here actually connects to what looks like that little processor for the audio. And you don't want to lift up too hard or you could probably break that chip, which you definitely want to avoid. Anyway, so that's all it takes to get in. Here are my 2 existing RAM cards, and I actually have 4 slots, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to try to just add these in, have a total of 4 RAM cards installed. I'm going to open the package. Comes with its own little instruction manual. Alright, so here is my 8GB card. What I'm going to do is just pop it in place. I'm going to line it up the way the rest are lined up. I'm going to open these tabs up. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in. Alright, when you put it in, you want to press down firmly but gently. And when you actually get it in place all the way, these little clips on either side are actually going to pull themselves in. So that's kind of how you're going to know it's in. See how they kind of just pull themselves in just like that? So I'm pressing pretty hard, but at the same time, I'm being gentle to make sure it's not going to, my hand's not going to slip and accidentally break something on my motherboard. Alright, so that's one in. Here we go with the other one. It's important to make sure they're seated properly, because if they're not seated properly, and I found this out the other day when I was messing with my other 2 cards that are already installed, the computer will actually turn on when you start it up and then promptly cut off. And if that happens, I think it's probably best just to pull the power cable and prevent it from cycling anymore, because I'm sure that's not good for it. Now things are a little tight in here because it is the small size form factor, but just got to get in here and then gently apply some downward pressure. I know it's hard to see because the sun's going down. All right, so that is that one in. If you notice, all my clips are pulled in. I didn't have to push them in. They just kind of pulled in when I pushed these RAM cards all the way down, so they should be fully seated, and that should do it. And that's the install. All right, well, I'm gonna follow this up with a little video to make sure it works. I'll just show the final total number of RAM on the PC, but thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just ask them in the comments. Alright, so after installing the RAM, I put everything back together, booted it up. There were no hiccups, everything is working nicely. Now all that's left to do is check to see if the RAM installed properly. So I'm on Linux Mint 19 Cinnamon. All I gotta do is go into my start menu and search for system info. It's gonna tell us how much RAM we currently have. If we look at the memory row here, we can see we got 23.4 gigabytes, which is what we wanted because initially I had two 4 gigabyte cards installed, so that's 8 gigabytes total. I installed two 8 gigabyte cards, so altogether that should come up to 24 gigabytes, and you never quite get to the full number, but 23.4 is just what I expected. So looks like everything went well. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Have a great day.